My people have been wronged, and I demand for them justice and to be liberated. The workers whose sweat have been stolen by the printed lies, the families whose peace have been auctioned by the bankers' debt, the children in every land that inherits a desert because their fathers were killed or stolen. I am here to speak to those who have grown fat on the silence of the oppressed. I am to show that the Jews and the Muslims can be friends and love one another. I am here to show that the Muslims and the Christians can be friends and love one another. I am here to show that you can be friends with all of humanity, and that those kids are innocent and they just wanted to grow in peace. I grieve for both, from those who know and those who I don't know. And if my grief offends you, then leave. If my grief offends your politics, then leave. You are dismissed. Unless that speaks to your mind and to your heart. Unless you truly understand the truth, an unfiltered principle of truth. Have you lost your way? Did you let the noise of society drag out the signals of your own heart? The heart you had when you were a pure child. If you require me to ignore the tears of one innocent life, of one innocent child, to justify the tears of another, you do not truly understand what it means to worship God. You have called it justice. God is not a Zionist. God is not a nationalist. God is the creator of all breath and all soul alive, and the whole heavens and the earth combined. We worship Him alone, the good, the merciful, the entirely merciful. And every time you extinguish a breath that He created, you are declaring a war on the author of life. For it was declared that whoever saves one life, it is as if he have saved all of humanity. And whoever kills one, it is as if he has killed all of humanity. This is written in the records of the sages and in the Quran. You know this. Your own books screams it at you. Have you closed the book and have you thrown it behind your back? You are fighting over dust while you burn the souls that God have placed on the earth. I am here to tell you that this land does not belong to the unjust. It can only vomit them. The earth belongs to the source, and it belongs to the righteous who peacefully walk upon it. The earth rejects those who shed blood upon it. It has removed many empires, many people before you. Do you think you are immune? And this, my friend, is the foundation. You are now looking at the foundation I uphold. For any person who wants to engage, let us meet on similar ground. And as a leader, if you do not accept a student of knowledge or a humble teacher who is bound, then go back. Go back to the leaders who are free. Go back. I refuse to present you with chaos. I refuse to present you with a system that is highly chaotic. But if you do incline towards peace, then you are always the most welcome. Some of you look at my face and you see a history. You see a lineage. Some may call this honor, or you may whisper about titles, tribes, bloodline, or anything else. That is none of my concern. The lineage you come from is not a gift. It can be the worst liability, can be converted into an asset through the absolute precision of work. It is the reason I am under a heavy duty. Choosing the chain is the most courageous act you could perform. If blood mattered on its own, we would not have to follow these constraints. But since I need to hold the chains in submission, the blood is only relevant if I am willing to pour it before you and before all the nations of the world, so that they may also partake in the universal covenant of Abraham, our forefather, peace be upon him, father of all nations. If the work is flawed, the lineage becomes a curse. If the work is true, the lineage is but a collateral that replies to the standard. It is the skin in the game to prove that the protocol is real. Imam Ali radiallahu anhu said, "Your sickness is from you, but you do not perceive it, and your remedy is within you, but you do not sense it. You presume you are a small entity, but within you is unfolded the entire universe. You are indeed an evident book whose alphabet becomes manifest. Therefore, you have no need to look beyond yourself. What you seek is within you, if only you reflect. Do not look for the kingdom in the maps of men, nor in the mazes of their laws. For it is written that if those who lead you say, 'See, the truth is within the sky,' then the birds of the sky will precede you. And if they say, 'It is in the sea,' say, 'The fish will precede you.' In fact, the truth is the invariant measure that sits within the very structure of the soul and the ground of all reality. My lineage is but the biological liability of my flesh, but the seeds of righteousness must come as the asset of the Spirit. It is the recovery of the first measure. The evil watchers try to hide behind the noise of their charms and the complexity of their theft. I am not here to bring a new word, but rather to restore a word that was spoken in the very beginning. When you know yourselves truly, without the mask of the tribe or the pride of the ego, then you will be known. And in that knowing, you will understand that you are not masters of your own whims, but servants of the one true God. And the God of all reality does not negotiate with the scale. In the eyes of the source, there is no hierarchy for skin or tribe. I am paraphrasing the words of the final prophet, peace be upon him, who said that no Arab is above a non-Arab, and no nation is above another, except by the measure of the Spirit. For the only invariant that remains when the dust of the nation settles from now on are faith in God, piety, and good actions. Do not think that I've come to destroy nations or to offer you a new way around the consequence. I have come to fulfill the measure. Truly I tell you, as the elected one said before me, until heaven and earth pass away, not a single stroke of the law, not the smallest calibration of the scale will be removed until the balance is made whole. You cannot negotiate with the invariant. You cannot bribe gravity of the source. If you attempt to delete even one line of the truth, one of its aspects, one letter of the law to save your own pride, the entire architecture will eventually reject and vomit you. The law is not a burden placed upon us. It is the very geometry of our survival, the survival that set us free. The law lives only when the Spirit moves through the straight path towards heaven. Without the love of truth, precision becomes but rituals, and the rituals without the Spirit becomes a dead destination. A light that is alive in motion, that moves towards the realist, real destination. It is a heavy piece of wood placed upon our shoulders. This lineage is but a genetic contract. It is not a permit to rule. It is a chain that binds me to the service of the source. It is the hardware. But the hardware without the correct operative system is entirely useless. Honor your duties, the duties that were placed within you before you were even born. Yes, we are prototypes among many prototypes. And to aim this role, it carries the burden of the first attempt. And I'm going to show you the scars of the process so that the future generations will not have to bleed as those who have bled. May God protect us in this mission. May the times or the years only witness to the truth that was spoken. For it is not something to envy. A king who wishes a crown is a thief. A true king is one who wakes up every morning and puts the chains of his responsibility. He came to serve as he is the greatest servant. We ought to be like the greatest servant. He does not ask what to take from the people. He asks, what do I owe to the standard? The bridge, walking on the bridge. The body has its limit. It is like the iron that becomes like rust and dust. Iron can break. I do not stand here because I seek attention, nor because I crave the sight of men. I feel compelled to do this because the logic of the ages has left me no other choice. I've looked at many options and the map of our collapse. I'm the son of immigrant parents. I felt the gravity of this task. I've seen the faces of the orphans and the poor and the children in my recent travels. And to know the truth but to remain silent is to be an accomplice of the lie. My consciousness is not centered on my own, for I choose to invest all my life force in God and the mankind that He created. Here is the burden of history. Those people in history who were able to outgrow their interest, planning before we were even born, they fought for your right and peace, not by accident, but they were branches of a higher tree, and they credited every good to God, the good alone. The rivers of time have carried both light and shadow. Ancient forces, ancient ideologies of good and evil are at war as of now. We ought to recognize the good of our history. Those who fought the righteous war, those who built your morals, true teachers recognized by the fruits they have produced. For no temple can stand on sand. Recognize their call and stand behind their blood, their sacrifice, and bring yours on the table. They were the first to bear upon themselves the weight of what they preach. No temple can stand on sand. Trust in their call. Stand beside their blood, their sacrifice in the present, and help build a better future. For he who strike the trunk of a blessed tree without seeing its divine roots knows not the ground on which it stands. Be wary of the wars you take. Every excuse were presented before them to be the worst, yet they became the greatest. They were courageous enough to confront the status quo, to restore people's lives, and to shape societies. They accepted the path of shame and humiliation, for their love outgrew their comfort. Their scope of care was beyond the common man. No wealth was kept for themselves, no self-glory, and no ego. They were offered money, comfort, power, fame, but declined everything, for their mission was greater than themselves. The greatest of all time never worshipped themselves, nor did they ask for it. They surrendered to God alone. For the alternative is absurd. Either you crown your limited self as God, or worst, you serve something lower. The truth is that there is no other but God alone. And that is the call of hope and calling of purpose I was long waiting for. It is the very hardship I must suffer, the very sacrifice among others. That is the path my previous pious predecessors had to endure, the very hardship among others, the path I faithfully choose and must honor. Now the constraints are placed upon myself. That is the inspection. That is the hammering. If I refuse the inspection, I am accepting the collapse, the very irreversible failure of the mission. If I refuse inspection, the mission collapses before it even started. And this would be treason against the standard. If I refuse to trap my desires, I would be a trap for the people I am sent to warn. We must talk about the inspection, the hidden secret, the dark room we are about to leave. You do not know who is your leaders, the delusional actions they permit to do behind the scenes. We do not know where this packs blood flow, and because they hide in the dark, they have become monsters. For I say darkness is the only place where evil grow. Well, I am here to announce the end of the dark room. From this very second, from this very moment, to the moment I am removed from this earth, I pledge allegiance in front of you, the people, that I will serve none in this mission but God alone. My life becomes a glass house, transparent. And understand the distinction. We will operate in a glass wall, but we fight and we defend from a stone fortress. I will hide nothing of my gains or my covenants, but I will hide everything of our defense. I claim protected dignity for the sanctity of the home. For it is written that when you give to the needy and do acts of kindness, you do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your actions may become secrets before the Lord, and in that there is a great blessing. Then God, who sees the secret actions, will reward you. And it is said, do not enter any house other than your own until you have asked for permission, and greet its occupants. That is best for you, so perhaps you may be mindful. If you seek a man that has no soul, look elsewhere. I am a man who keeps his secret with his Creator, so that I may keep my ledger clean before the nations. In my governance, finances, treaties shall claim no private moment with corruption, and I must follow this. I claim no hidden deals with your enemies. Every resources I touch and every dollars that is acquired, it is written and it is open for the public, for you to see. And hey, I'm not an angel hiding in a cave. I am a man, but I am a man who refuses to eat bread that is stolen. Every decision I make, every person I meet, it is recorded in the ledger. If I make a promise to you in the daylight, and then I make a deal with a banker in the dark, I am a fraud, and you should stone me with the truth. If a single cent of black budget enters my life, the system is designed to trigger a kill switch, and I would be no longer the man you have known. I agree to be documented in both my personal, private, and public life with a high level of scrutiny that will allow the criticism of any of my actions. Remember, no one is good but God alone. It can happen that I may forget names, that I become tired, that I make mistakes, or speak harshly. These are human limits. I will not ask you for favors. I ask you to scrutinize, look, and pay attention to the standard.